$15 to $20, but
15 to 25, depending on which ones you want.
I think the price point is.
I think the highest one actually is 21.
Yeah, I think the price point's because of the customization possibilities, and that the target audience for this particular figure is not typically kids, as much as grown-up collectors. So, anyway, so we went to see the Knights of Slice guys. They signed your books, took pictures, all that other fun stuff, and then we headed over to Artist Alley, where we just kind of walked around a little bit and saw Art Balthazar and Franco, who really, I was thinking, I met them 15 years ago before they were really huge, but I say that like I'm some sort of like mind reader, but they were destined for something bigger than just doing indie comics, and they ended up getting jobs with DC Comics and doing Tiny Titans and Superman Adventures.
And then they created their own line, which was Oh Yeah Comics.
Yeah, Oh Yeah is their own independent line, but they actually wrote for I can't think of his name right now, but he wrote a book called Hero Baron Kid. He drew Billy Batson Shazam, and they wrote it. Art and Franco wrote it, and they've written a lot of stuff for DC. Franco has done his own books. Art's done his own books. They're just super down to earth guys, willing to make drawings for kids. They do these great fun crayon drawings. They've been doing that forever. They started doing them on backing boards, the comic book backing boards, but they printed their own cards. They're a lot smaller now, but really, really good guys. We saw them and just kind of walked around. You saw Josiah. You had an artist you wanted to see in Artist Alley.
Yeah, his name's Kim Jung-Eus.
Okay.
Jung-Eus, he's super talented. He doesn't work with any baselines at all. He doesn't pencil anything in. He just draws with a pen. He's really, really, really good at what he does, and his sketches are usually very, very intricate, depending on what it is. But he's really good at what he does.
Right.
And I was really excited to watch him work in real life, because I've seen his time lapses and stuff like that, but just to watch him draw. Starting from a blank page, and then it's this really elaborate Batman sketch. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, that was he was selling his sketchbook, and it was green interior, and he was drawing in that. And on Instagram, you saw that he met Taika Waititi, and he did a Thor drawing for Taika Waititi, the director of Thor Ragnarok. So that was neat. Yeah. So we saw him. I'm trying to think who else. We saw Mark Kistler from a distance. I didn't really go up and talk to him. Mark Kistler was the host of The Secret City when I was a kid, Commander Mark, and he was a guy who drew in 3D, and he said that anybody can draw in 3D, and I learned a lot of art vocabulary, such as...
wasn't he the guy that did that book that I had?
Yeah. He taught me a lot of art vocabulary, for shortening and, stuff like that. So he was there, but I didn't go talk to him because he kind of goes into shill mode, where he likes to sell his stuff. He has to make his money back, because those tables cost about $600 and change to get a table for the weekend. So those artists are out there hustling. They got a lot of stuff out there, but you can't buy everything that you see. There was some stuff I saw that I really dug. There was some people that did some cool vector art using.
And I would have bought the sketchbook, but we just didn't have the money.
Yeah. Sketchbook was expensive. There's a lot of stuff.
It's expensive, but for a good reason. You know, it's I know how much work goes into something like that, so I understand why it's expensive. Yeah.
So we went from Artist Alley back up to the show floor and kept walking around, because the show floor was huge. It was
massive.
Was
it bigger than other times?
No, it's the same size, but it just was so big, and they had so many vendors and so little time to kind of see everything. But I was kind of underwhelmed. I'm sort of burned out on comic conventions at this point, and but we were just walking around, and we saw the guy who what was his name? He is the voice of
Ricky Simons.
Ricky Simons.
Ricky
Simons. He was sitting at a table, and he's the voice of Gurr on Invader Zim. And we just by happenstance noticed that he was sitting there, and we noticed he was sitting there, and I was like, oh, wow, that's the voice of Gurr. And he had like little prints there available to sign. And, he's out there trying to make some money. And the prints with an autograph were $25 a piece. And that's a little pricey. I'm not a big autograph hound unless it's something I'm really into and they offer to do it for free when I buy it. So I was like, yeah, we're not buying a print so he can sign it for $25. But I was like, hey, my son really loves that character, Gurr. In fact, he draws him all the time. And I forced Josiah to pull his sketchbook out and said, show him a drawing of Gurr. And he did. And he happily signed it. He signed it for you for free.
Yep.
Which was really neat. He was very nice about it and not very pushy. And he just knew that Josiah was a big fan. And it was just fun.
And I've seen like the Comic-Con panels that they did in San Diego and stuff like that for the upcoming TV movie. And he was telling me about oh yeah, we've got a TV movie on the way, and I was like, yeah, I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, he was wearing like a pork pie hat. He looked like the announcer for the Coney Island hot dog eating contest they do on the 4th of July. But he was super nice. It was very, very cool to see him. And then we saw, I'm trying to see, after that, we stopped around, but we were pretty much done at that point with the con. There were so many people. We had spent enough money. There's nothing we really needed to buy at that point. So we were like, okay, why don't we call it a day? And we did. We called it a day at about 6 o'clock. The con ends at 7. Got a ride back to the ferry, and we took the ferry and went out to City Island where we had seafood. This was the funniest part of the night. City Island is at the end of the island. There's water. I'm not sure what river it is. I couldn't tell you what river it was. And we're just sitting there. There's 2 raccoons.
And they're massive.
They were huge.
They were at least 2 feet wide.
They were the size of small Cocker Spaniels. They were huge.
They were almost the size of Chloe.
No, they weren't the size of our black lab dog.
2 of them would have been half the size.
So anyway, there were these giant raccoons, and they're living the high life, eating out of the garbage can.
Sorry, I took it too far. I meant trash panda.
They were so funny to watch. We, Jonas and I, after dinner, we walked out and we were just watching them, and one of them was in the black garbage can. We didn't know that, but we saw the other one. He was just walking around chilling. And then he goes on the top of the black garbage can, he opens it up to get in, and he looks down in, and then the other one goes it waves its hand out,
yeah.
Hey, I'm in here, and then the other one's like, oh, yeah, and so he climbs into the gray garbage can.
Yeah, so they were living the high life. They were never going to leave.
At one point, we were, I saw one of them go into the black garbage can and got stuck. It was and then the other one somehow got its paw inside of it and pushed it open.
Well, before we even ate, they were on the other side of the fence where the rocks were leading into the water.
Oh, jeez.
And one of them went missing. We're like, where did the other one go? And then all of a sudden, it was underneath a rock and its head pops up.
Its head up.
And some dude was throwing French fries at him, which you should never do because they're not supposed to eat that stuff anyway. Especially getting used to people feeding them. But he was throwing them at him, and they were picking them up and they were eating them, and they were just so fat and they were funny. And I got some pictures of them. I'll share on our Facebook page. Literal trash pandas. That's what they were. They just were eating the garbage, having a good time.
Oh my gosh! Josiah was getting really close. He looked inside the gray garbage can. One of them disappeared. We don't even know where it went. And then
it was under the rock because I watched where the other one was, and it was under there.
So
Josiah got really close. And then the one that was in the gray garbage can, so the one that was in the gray garbage can left, and then the one that was in the black one got in the gray one. And then Josiah got super close and it jumped up.
Yeah.
Jumped on.
You don't want to be too close to raccoons because if they do bite you, you could get rabies. It's not a good thing.
It's like Buddy the Elf.
Yeah.
Does someone need a hug?
Yeah, but Buddy the Elf that's a movie. This was real life. So these raccoons were there and they were having a good time. We enjoyed the food. The food was the onion rings were not my I had
I
like
didn't like the onion rings very much, but
they
the
were-
French fries and the burgers were pretty good.
the onion rings were very very bland. I
They didn't even have like the thing around them. There was just a layer of this.
the breading, but it was fine. It wasn't terrible. It was a place called Jimmy's Reef Restaurant. We meant to go to the place across the street, which I don't know what it is. I think it's called Sammy's. I couldn't tell you, but it was on City Island in the Bronx. That was kind of cool. So then Saturday night comes and goes. We wake up Sunday morning. We just kind of lazily made our way back to Con. We got the ferry back. We went to the city, get off at 34th Street. And, right up 34th Street, you can see the Empire State Building. We hadn't had breakfast yet. So I'm like, let's just walk to the Empire State Building and, get a lift at some point to go to the Con. So we did that. We walked to the Empire State Building and we found this little deli, Murray's Deli, on right on the corner there with 34th Street and I don't remember the name of the street, cross street. It might have been 7th. I don't remember. Anyway, so we got these great like fresh bagels with cream cheese, delicious, like very very tasty.
Yeah, they were really good.
Got in our lift. Our driver is a guy from Egypt. He's from Egypt.
Right? Or was that the other one?
No,
it was
it was
him. Yeah,
Egypt.
He had
because
he had like the cross thing hanging down from
Yeah.
his thing, I remember.
He was from Egypt, and he was a very nice guy. I asked him questions. He's very soft-spoken. I made it a point every time a Lyft driver picked us up to find out like how long they were doing it. He'd been doing it for 5 months. He'd been in the country for a little while, and he enjoys it. It's the best job he could have. He also works for a food packaging company that makes the halal food. Very, very cool guy. Just chatting him up, and he's taking us to the Javits Center. Drops us off right there. Like he made his way through. He didn't have to, but he did. And he was super nice about it. And so we get to the Javits Center, and some monk dude walks up and tries to put a bracelet on your hand. Josiah's
No.
hand.
He gave me a card and he was like, "Oh, here, good luck."
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
He was like, "Do you want?" And I was like, "No, thanks." And I gave the card back.
He was trying to sell it's a classic New York City scam. We had a guy who actually did that. He put the bracelet on my wrist and on your wrist, and then tried to ask me to give him. Tried to demand I give him $20 each bracelet.
$50, and he put a necklace in. He put a plastic 10-cent gold necklace.
Yeah.
That you would find.
And I was like, "No, get out of here!" And so he took his stuff and he left. But we ate our bagel, the rest of our bagel, and then we went into the show. And there was no wait to get in there at that point, because at that point I think it was like 12:30.
It was 2. It was like 1 or 2.
Yeah, it might have been 1.
No, it was
12:30 or 1. And we make our way into the show again. There's lots of cool costumes. And in fact, we walked in, and it's at the bottom floor of the Javits. There was a panel going on, and it was the cast of the show Gotham. And I saw the kid who plays Bruce Wayne from a distance, and he was, doing autographs or whatever. And I wasn't going to wait in line for that. But we did see the Titans trailer, and I kind of got excited about just seeing Beast Boy changed into a tiger. That was kind of neat.
I'm not super excited for the show, but if they end up putting it on an actual network, which they probably will.
No, they won't.
Why not? Because nobody's going to pay for it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll find out. So anyway, we watched the Titans trailer, saw some cool costumes from the Aquaman movie, and there was a Lego Aquaman there.
Were they the real costumes, or were they?
I don't know if they were worn in the movie.
They looked pretty.
They might have been replicas.
They could have been replicas.
But the Black Manta one was probably the coolest.
The Black Manta is the coolest part about Aquaman.
Yeah, Jason Momoa was actually at New York Comic Con at one point. We didn't see him, but he was there. The guy who plays Aquaman.
And there was a video that Dad showed us when we were in the lift, in one of the lifts, and it was the guy that was playing Aquaman, and then there was a guy dressed as Grunkle Stan from Gravity Falls. And after they took the photo, the guy who was dressed as Grunkle Stan ripped off the mask, and it ended up being Mark Ruffalo.
He's notorious for having a costume where you can't see his face.
Yeah.
Actually,
He's done that before.
He's done it like 2 years.
Yeah, he did it at New York Comic Con before, and